Hey everyone, a massive welcome to all the Genesis International College construction management students tuning in today. I'm absolutely thrilled to have you here. You can think of this explainer as your ultimate go-to guide for mastering unit CPCCBC5010. Today, we're zeroing in on topic 5, manage processing of progress payments. Honestly, if you want to know how to keep your construction site financially healthy and avoid a massive headache at the end of a build, you are in the exact right place. Let's get started. Right off the bat, I want you to picture this. You are in the driver's seat. You're the project manager. You're the one calling the shots. Now, obviously, overseeing the physical brick-and-mortar reality of a site is a huge job, but establishing and maintaining strict control over the on-site financials, that is an absolutely critical responsibility. As your Genesis International College Learner Guide makes very clear, successful construction management isn't just about building structures. It's about flawlessly managing the flow of money that actually makes those structures possible. Okay, let's take a quick look at today's game plan. Here's our agenda. Number 1, what are progress payments? Number 2, typical payment claim stages. Number 3, validating and approving claims. Number 4, tracking your project expenditure. And finally, number 5, investigating financial discrepancies. Let's jump right into section 1. What are progress payments? The basics of construction billing. So, what exactly are we talking about here? Well, progress payments are simply payments made incrementally based on the percentage of work completed as a project moves forward. In the building and construction world, we rely heavily on subcontractors and suppliers. And instead of making them wait for a massive multi-month project to finish entirely before any money changes hands, we pay them step by step. Essentially, as physical milestones are met out on the site, financial milestones are triggered back in the office. Moving right along to section 2, typical payment claim stages, or in other words, when these payments actually happen. Let's look at this timeline to see how it all builds up. Now, exactly how subcontractors are billed is always laid out in your contract documents, but typically, your standard residential or commercial build is going to follow a pretty specific chronological arc. It usually starts at the slab stage, which is when the concrete footings are poured. Then we hit plate tight. That's your rudimentary structure where the walls are up and ready for a roof. After that comes lockup, followed by internally, where all the plumbing and wiring run through those walls. Next, we hit secondary finishing for things like tiling and carpentry, going all the way to practical completion. And that's handover time, when utilities are finally linked and the building is reasonably ready to be used. Visualizing this progression is super helpful because it shows exactly how we anchored these abstract payments to very tangible real-world milestones. Take that lockup stage, for example. You're not just paying a random invoice, right? You're paying because the external doors and windows are literally secured. The site is physically protected from the elements. So the physical progress completely dictates the financial progress. All right, section 3, validating and approving claims. Let's look at the manager's actual workflow. So, validating a claim requires a really strict balancing act. On one hand, you've got an invoice requesting money. But on the other hand, you've got this intense desktop review that you have to perform. Validating a claim means checking it strictly against the terms of your contract. This isn't just rubber stamping a bill so it gets paid. You have to check if the quality of service was actually met, if the deadlines were adhered to, and you have to scrutinize all the supplementary paperwork to ensure every single contract term was satisfied before you release even a single dollar. To pull this off efficiently, you've got to follow this exact checklist. First, review your budget documents. Is there actually enough money to cover the claim? Second, review the contract terms for the agreed schedules and requirements. Third, validate everything against supplementary paperwork, things like progress reports, performance evaluations, or delivery invoices. And finally, step 4, if all requirements are met, you approve it. But, and this is a big one, if the requirements are not met, you must return the claim to the claimant with clear written notes explaining exactly why it was rejected. No guessing games allowed. Section 4, tracking your project expenditure, which is all about monitoring the macro budget. As a manager, you have to constantly track how much the project is spending overall. You see, an estimated final cost is produced before the construction even begins. Your job? Keep that document open and constantly track real-time spending against it. And crucially, as those progress payments go out the door, you've got to keep a very close eye on your contingency allowance. That's your safety net, the reserve fund set aside specifically for unforeseen risks. So the crucial point is this. What does it mean if that contingency allowance starts draining faster than you expected? Aside from giving you premature gray hair, it's a giant red flag. A rapidly depleting contingency fund is basically screaming that there are underlying site problems. It usually points to one of three things: prevalent project delays, poor quality building materials, or human resources that need replacing, or just massive errors in your initial estimation, like maybe failing to account for sudden price fluctuations. And that brings us to Section 5, Investigating Financial Discrepancies. Time to find those missing funds. When discrepancies pop up, you have to launch a rigorous 4-step investigation. First step, review all your project documentation, contracts, agreements, invoices. Do you really understand the approved scope of work? Second, conduct a detailed cost analysis for each phase, comparing your actuals against your projections. Third, verify your change orders, like are there approved variations that are suddenly impacting the cost? And fourth, and honestly maybe the most important, conduct a site inspection. Get out of the office, throw your hard hat on, and physically inspect the construction to see if the real-world progress actually matches the financial drain you're seeing on paper. I want to leave you with this final thought. A depleted contingency fund or a financial discrepancy isn't just some math error on a spreadsheet. It is a very real symptom of deeper physical site issues. As future construction managers coming out of Genesis International College, you have to remember that successful management requires constant, unwavering vigilance. Are you managing proactively, or are you just reacting to the bills as they pile up on your desk? You always have to look beyond the numbers to the physical reality of your site. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and good luck with Unit CPCBC5010.